All right. So I shot a video the other day, the Golf Clash. Are you unhappy with the brackets? Let me know. Let's go see what kind of comments
All
we got
right.
there. Yeah. All right. All right. 23 thumbs up, one thumb down. Let's see what the kind of comments. In theory, it's a good idea giving people with less ability a chance to get a banner, but Tier 3 is broken. Only starting the game within the past year, I have found my opponents in tournaments almost always have better clubs and more games experience. I was always at a disadvantage. However, I did my research and worked hard to dial in shots and found consistently gave me the edge. When they changed to the new win system recently, they made it much harder to dial in shots. It's the equivalent of at least a couple of shots. Okay, everyone is in the same boat. Dry your eyes and say, PD says one of the aims of this update was to encourage players to move up divisions. I absolutely agree with that. They even said in their thing, like where they feel like you're not playing where they want you to play. So they want people to move up the scale. I really think that from Playdemic's perspective on a cash basis, they want to get people up at the top. But there's a lot of players that played, time constraints, the real world, where time constraints come in and you don't have enough time to play anymore, or you don't want to spend that cash anymore, or you got that new baby. We've got COVID, and money's a little tight, and you're not willing to spend what it takes to be up and play Masters every week, and you don't have the time, and you're doing the stuff, but you still want to play, and you can go down and you can play rookie. You don't have to practice as much. It's not. And here's the deal: a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, I'll just drop down and play rookie, and I'll just kick some ass down there. I got badass stuff." Guess what? There's a bunch of people that play rookie that have badass stuff. And there's a bunch of people that play rookie that know how to play the game and that are actually really good at it. So I'm sure that there are some people that were masters that have only played masters tournaments and expert tournaments that drop down who have been successful. And I'm sure that there's a lot of them that dropped down and found out that the competition is like, it's tight in these brackets. It's tight in the brackets. But Playdemic definitely wants us to play at a different, I don't know why they're not encouraging that. And one of the things that I think the Playdemic could do to really encourage players is I don't understand why there isn't a $10 pack. Why do we go from 5 to 20? Why isn't there a $10 pack? Because, there's a lot of times where, the $5 pack's just not doing it for me. And I don't really want to spend 20 bucks. But there's a ton of players that play rookie. I'm sure that the majority of players are probably in pro, but there's a ton of players that play rookie. And let's continue to read on here before I get on my little soapbox about the whole deal. I think everyone in Tier 3 can absolutely say it has had the opposite effect. In the last two tourneys, I'm faced against players with full wall of expert and masters gold banners. Most have a minimum APOC 5, but I've played against numerous players using an APOC 8. I'd never even seen one before. Hand on heart, I rarely saw people use an APOC and rookie before. Normally, I would say bringing on the biatches. However, the last tournaments, there were certain holes where you get a significant advantage from higher clubs with distance and topspin. Absolutely. I mean, and I have no bones about it. I've played expert rookie and expert master in the old system where the mass majority of the people that were in my bracket were all at the same level, if not higher than me. Most of them had won more cheddar, which means that they play higher tours, which means they got better prizes, which means they had better clubs, even at the same amount of games as me. And I've seen, and there was kind of a stigma in rookie about the APOC, like, oh, you're bringing out the APOC and playing a rookie. But part of the deal is that prior to the club card trading, getting your APOC to level 8 really was something that was like, that was one of your things for masters. Like you weren't going to max out or get your APOC up to level 5, 6, 7, 8 unless you were playing masters level stuff regularly. Like that was where you lived, was in Tour 10, 11, now 12. But with the club card trading coming out, where people like me who had played since the very beginning of the game, I have a huge inventory of cards. So when the club card trading came out, people that had played the game for a year were able to get them to start letting them use those club cards. Well, I started off with an inventory of 140,000 cards, 120,000 cards. So it's easy to get those clubs up. I think that there's a lot of people that played up at the higher tours that have come down, and like I said earlier, that have been successful, but there's a lot of them that came down thinking, well, hey, I'll just go down and win some stuff in rookie, and it's tight. It's tight. It's always tight. Let's see here. So now you see I've lost shots by not able to dial it in, but also lost because it is impossible for me to replicate the big boys do. I welcome the added challenge, but in this, and I will tell you that some of the deal there that helps out everybody in the game is the varying winds. And you may not think that, but I think the varying winds help you out, because if you actually know how to adjust for winds, while it may make it harder for you to consistently get it in the hole, the deal is that you will get up there and get the minimum score every time, and you're not struggling to get minimum score on certain rounds. Put it in time. I'm just trying to figure out where I was at for this update. Comparing my banners to others, I know that I will be in tier Pro 3 and Expert 2, having only played rookie. I'm struggling to compete in rookie. So what chance do I have moving up divisions? The whole deal is that this is what there's a lot of people in the game. If you take, we have first, second, and third. Those are the only people that are going to get banners here, right? And we start off with groups of 20, and it gets split into the top 10, right? So that means we started off with 200 people, or well, actually, in order to get our opening round bracket, we started off with 200 people, and we ended up with 100. And then out of that 100, we're going to end up with 50. So it means we got to get another bracket that has 100 to get us down to 50, which started off with 200. So that means we started off with 400 people. And only 3 people out of that 400 are going to actually win something. So, I mean, like, step back and think about it. At what point in time do you think that it was ever easy to be in the top 3 out of 400? I mean, I've won a bunch of tournaments, and I've had some tournaments where I was on fire and I won by a couple strokes, and I've had tournaments where I won in tiebreakers, and I've had tournaments where I lost in tiebreakers. I have a slew of 4th places, a slew of them, and most of them were one stroke and I would have won. It's always been tough. It's always been tough. And the whole thing about clubs is I don't like to think that I've ever lost because of clubs. Like typically, like they may be able to get that shot in and pick up that eagle, or pick up that Albie, or pick up that hole-in-one, because they set the shot up and they did the stuff. But with the clubs that I have, if I go out there and execute, I can get the same exact thing. So I know that the clubs will give you a certain advantage. And obviously, I've got upper developed rares, so I have an advantage on some of those holes because I can pull out the right club. But the majority of the people that are in my bracket have exactly the same stuff or better, and I've never felt any qualms about that. Because I know that the people that are in my bracket have the same stuff, so they've got the same advantage. I'll tell you right now, the big difference between, I have an account, my practice account has upper developed clubs. My main account has actually, which used to be my practice account, has better clubs in it now than my odd account, slightly. But the big difference between those two accounts is I can do things in my 77 account that I can't get done in my odd account because of ball. And one of the things that when the game first started, there was only the balls that you could buy in the store and berserkers. That was it. I mean, there wasn't any of these other balls. And it really, until probably January of 2018, we really, at that point, they kind of standardized that tournaments came out every other week, because before that, we'd had some gaps. And we got onto our regular schedule, and when we got onto that regular schedule, then you really started seeing the ball inventory start to go up. But for that first 5-6 months that we played, we didn't have any of those extra balls. And I see that big time on my gameplay between my odd and my 77 account. Because in my odd account, the best that I have is, Titans, and I can pop in some Kingmakers, and occasionally I'll have, a pack of balls that I can work with. But for the most part, I keep my special balls in my 77 account, and there's things that I can do with those balls that I can't get done in my odd account. And that's part of the deal. So if you are playing the game and you're in these brackets, the competition has gotten tougher, and you can't, if you leave any one of those things on the table and you're like, well, I don't have any of those special balls, then that's not a problem. I mean, you can still play the game, but the deal is that you are leaving stuff on the table. And from Playdemic's perspective, you got to look at it from their perspective as a business. Some of the kiddie stuff that they're doing now is a little weird, but yeah. Okay, let's read on. Let's see what else we got here. I'm on a soapbox. I'm these tournaments, when they change the stuff like this is how it is. So I don't see that big of a difference myself. The tier thing, I don't understand exactly how the tier thing. I knew coming in that I was going to be in tier 3 no matter what the deal was. So I don't know how the tier thing works yet. I'm not sure how many people are in the tier 1 or 2 in rookie. How many brackets get played in that tier. So I mean, there's probably, if some of you are out there and you're playing in a lower account, you've never won anything, what kind of scores are you seeing at the top of your brackets? Because there's enough people out there playing second accounts that those people know that if I can get on this particular hole with this club, I have exactly the same shot as somebody that's got an upper level Hornet or an upper level whatever, because I have good ball guide and accuracy. They can use that Kingfisher, they can use that Firefly, they can use that club to recover and pick up that score. I'm just curious. I still think that I think in every bracket, it's always taken these types of scores to win. And that's the deal. I think there was an expectation from a lot of people that if we make any kind of major change, then it's going to make it easier for all of us to win. And the deal is that there's no easy wins when there's only 3 people out of 400 that are going to win something. First time I didn't make the cut opening round with any of my 4 accounts. I will tell you that this is where I'm seeing the difference. So in this type of environment, we've got the qualifier, we've got the opening round, we got the weekend round. In the qualifier, like in the past, it's -12, -24, -24. This will put you into the opening round. This will get you into the weekend round, and this score in the weekend round will net you, depending on your bracket, somewhere from, it could go as low as 90th and it could go as high as the top 20, just depending. So my big deal has always been, to try and be on this minimum score track, and this will also give you good tiebreakers in the weekend round, so you'll find yourself being a higher 24. So even though the 24s might go all the way to 90, you might be the highest or towards the high because you shot this minimum score track. That's not going to cut it anymore. You're going to have to come into these tournaments with a -13. You need to have at least one up on the minimum score in your qualifying round to put you high enough so that if you just shoot the minimum score in the opener, you're at least towards the top on the tiebreakers. And some minimum scores, depending on the course, might make it into the next round. But in most of these tournaments, you're going to have to come in to the opener with a minus 25. You're going to have to have at least picked up one. If you can come in with a 26, you'll be nicely into the tournament in most of these tournaments. So you're going to have to pick up either one per side or just one to separate yourself from this minimum score group. And this, in most of these tournaments, should get you in. But some of these tournaments, the minimum score of minus 25. I mean, even though the minimum score is 24, 50 people shot at 25. So once again, you're back in these tiebreakers. You're going to have to come in every round being one up to prep yourself up for the weekend round. You don't necessarily, I mean, it's always nice when you can shoot the type of round where you're at minus 14, you're at minus 28, 29, and then you come in and you're looking for the minus 30, 31, you know. And this type of ramping up, I personally never want to shoot this round right here where I'm in the 30s when I'm here. Now, there are some of those tournaments like the Community Cup where they're so damn easy that you damn near have to pick something up on every hole. Like literally you have to pick something up on every hole. But it is definitely going to be tougher to make the weekend round. But once you get into the weekend round, what you're seeing in the weekend round is exactly what I've been seeing. It's just tougher to get there. So you can't have any of those flat rounds. And for me, I've always tried to peak in the weekend round. So sometimes I come in with a weak qualifier, or I come in with a weak opening round, but I'm not usually too concerned about it because it all, the weekend round is what really matters. Well, that's changed. That has definitely changed. Now every round matters. And so no matter how good you are, how good of clubs you have, you could find yourself not making the weekend round or getting a top 10. Just depending on whether you played good in those beginning rounds. They're really, really important. True, the bracket I was in was dominated by master, expert, and pro players. Yeah, I mean, from where I've been playing in my two accounts in 77 and in Odd, I mean, Odd is a rookie master. So, I mean, I can go through, and I've done it many times on video where I've gone through the entire bracket or the top 10 and looked at those players, and they're all, billion coin earned players with 10,000, 15, 30,000 games, and they've got played in 45 tournaments and have banners and have the stuff, and you can tell just from the amount that they have that no matter what their current level is, even if it says that they're currently a rookie, based off how much cheddar they've earned, you don't earn that amount of cheddar without being at a certain rank. So at some point in that account's lifespan, but usually about half the people in the bracket would be current masters. And with 77, it's the same thing. Half the people in the bracket would be current experts, and then the other half were, but it didn't really, the problem that a lot of people had when you broke rookie up is that you have rookie, you have rookie pro, you have rookie expert, you have rookie masters. Now you've got tier 1, 2, and 3. And when you have pro, you have pros, you have pro expert, you have pro masters. When you had expert, you have experts. You have expert masters, then you had masters, right? So you had all these. Now you've got at each one of these breaking points, you've got tiers 1, 2, and 3, and it's going to be, I think, the threshold to get into tier 3. I mean, I think if you won, or if you've got a banner, if you had a banner in the last 20 tournaments, or whatever, where your placement is making the weekend round, that the threshold to get into level to 2 or 3 is you're going to get a rush of people that are here that may win something, but immediately they're going to be in tier 3. This top end's really going to be packed. I have no idea what the thresholds are. I kind of like this right here because if you've never made it to expert, then you were playing in pro or rookie. what people were doing down here in Ricky is they were playing every other week. So they'd have an account and they'd play it this week and they'd keep it at Ricky and they'd play it up to tour 7, 8, 9 and they'd work on their clubs and then they'd stop playing for a week and they'd get relegated and then they'd play their other account and they would play 7, 8, 9 and they'd get their clubs up and then they play this account and then they do this, and it doesn't take very long of playing in those upper tours. So like they're a Ricky and at the end of the week they won their divisional ranking the end of that week because they won 150 million because they were playing tour 9. But they were getting good clubs, good club cards. You start playing up tour 9, tour 10, and you can really start to work on your clubs. But the deal is that their accounts had never been higher than Ricky. So in the game, the way the bracketing was is that account was never higher than Ricky. So that account was only playing against, this literally was a lot of new people, lower trophy counts, people that had never played up. And it's so easy to go from Ricky to Ricky Pro that by the time you figure out what's going on, unless you've played the game before you actually realize what the hell's going on, you're already at Ricky Expert or possibly even Ricky Masters. More than likely this area right here, Ricky Expert, before you'd realize that, whoa, I should maybe just slow play it and have some fun and play the game and try and get my clubs here. But most people go right to the top. And if you go right to the top, or you've taken your account and you've played before this change happened and you went right to the top because the community says, hey man, you need to be a master or you're a douchebag. You need to play up here. You need to play where you're supposed to play. And we're going to, and if you're unsure where you're supposed to play, we'll be more than happy to tell you where you're supposed to play. It's a freaking game. I'll play wherever I want to play. That's why it's a game. I think that people are just going to get stacked up at the top. There was people that were bitching about the old way, and I'm curious to know like how many of them are like totally unhappy with this way too, where they've changed the deal. It sounds like there's not a lot of people super happy with it. I'm not unhappy. I think there are some bugs to work out. I qualified all my accounts and quit after the front 9 and opening. Brutal wins, being out-clubbed, over and under pulling my rings by hair lengths. I was done. This next one I may only play 1 or 2 accounts. See how it goes. I really can't play more than a couple accounts. Like when I try and play 3 accounts, it's a big, if I'm playing 3 accounts and I'm posting video, there's, it's like you play a practice round and you're playing all 3 accounts, so you can really get, that's 24 holes. Is that right? No, 27 holes. 27 holes, and then for every round, how much you have to play in the course of a week, and recording the videos and posting them and watching video, and it's a full-time job. It's a 40-50 hour a week job just doing that, and it's hard to play more than a couple accounts. I think for the average player out there playing an account, and sometimes what will happen is that you'll play in your practice account and you'll be on, and then you're not quite on in your main, and sometimes it's the other way around. I mean, you're working for your main, but you want your accounts so close together that sometimes it just doesn't work out in one, and so you've got that backup. So you're more apt to be able to play in the weekend round. Sometimes you can get them all through, and sometimes you can only get one through. But you got a much better shot when you're playing 2 accounts, and you can get a little bit more familiarity with the hole. You can try, what I try and do a lot of times is there's shots that I'm like, man, I really want to try that shot. And I need to get it out of my system, because you get into the weekend round and you go, hey, I think I'm a shot down, or I need to really pick one up, and I know that there's a shot we can do here, and you take a swing for the fence, and you've never really practiced that shot. Sometimes you can go out in your practice account and you can try and get that shit out of your system. So you can go out there and you can hit it a couple times and go, wow, there is a shot out there. And you can try and perfect it in your practice account, and then go out there in your main account and you can go, okay, hey, I'm ready to commit to it. And sometimes you can go out there in your practice account and you go, well, that is not going to work. And it can save you a little bit. So it's not always a good thing to go in your practice account and do the same exact shot. Like, maybe one of those par threes where the shot that you really want to take to give you a chance for hole in one has some huge risks involved in it. And in your practice account, you're practicing the backspin shot so that if you feel like at any point like, hey, I'm not willing to commit to that shot, the wind's blowing the wrong way, you've got that other shot in your bag that you've been practicing all week, so you can come at it from a different direction. I think some of these holes with the varying winds, depending on which way the wind's blowing, we may come at it from a different direction. So, and that's going to help. I think that'll help some of us as we go along on this. In my rookie tier 3 brackets, there was not a single player who didn't have at least one gold banner. And there were several that had pro, expert, even master level gold banners. But when you put a lot of great players together, it's going to be tough. But in my opinion, it should be tough. Tiger Woods doesn't make the cut every single tournament he plays. No pro golfer does. Putting the best of the best in all of the same brackets for Ricky makes a ton of sense. And I totally agree. I mean, the scores that I'm seeing at the top, like in this last tournament that we played, and I'm speaking to Ricky because I can't speak to what the scores are, because I know that the scores that they were that I've seen people post for expert were monstrous. But in Ricky, if you could shoot a -30, you were in the hunt for a win. I mean, this was banner win territory. So, I mean, if you were plus that number, you weren't sure to win, but like you put yourself in the catbird seat. Anything less than this, then you were caught up either in tiebreakers or it was just right there, right? So the grouping that I'm seeing where there's, maybe a 30 or 230s or 130 and 229s or 329s, and a lot of times that's exactly what you'll see. You'll see one person that broke the limit and got that 30, and you'll see 3 people at 29, and one of those people that shot 29 will end up coming in 4th because of tiebreakers, and that's the shit spot to be in. But these scores that are up here at the top are exactly what I've been seeing over the since the game came out. I mean, this is where we've progressed in our scoring, and these numbers really haven't changed, especially in the last couple years. Just thinking about what it takes to win some of these tournaments. Usually it's somewhere, depending on, there are some courses where really a -26 plus, and then we've got some setups that they've given us, where if you didn't shoot a 34 or better, you probably didn't have a shot. There's that kind of swing. But I think most of the courses that we're playing in are in the -28 to -32 range. I mean, this is more in our bracket. -30 being maybe the minimum, like right there, that's your average tournament. And seeing more people, what we're seeing now is what I've been seeing for a long time, is where it's tightly bracketed, where you've got a 30. You got a 29, 29, 29, and then you're at 28s down to the 10th spot. 10th is 28. And then you're seeing the 27s go to 25th. And you're seeing the 26s go down to 40th. And you're seeing the 25s go down to 53. And you're seeing the 24s, which would be the minimum score, going down to like 70 or 80. And so the deal is that it doesn't take anything more to win than it did before. What's happening here, though, is that every time you have a failure and you don't pick up that shot, or you drop one off the minimum score, the difference in places that you get is so dramatic. Because before you could, in a lot of these brackets, especially if you were playing in Ricky or Ricky Pro, and while there was those guys that were in there that had really good clubs that were at the top and they could shoot the 32 and they could shoot the 34, you got to remember that they still shot the 32 or they still shot the 34. Those people would have still won in just about any other bracket out there. That's the thing about the people that were playing down there, that I know a lot of people got pissed off and quit playing the game, and they're like, screw this. You got to remember, you shot a 34. And most people are trying to shoot 32s. And most people are achieving maybe a 28 or a 30. So, like you were so far above everybody to begin with, you're still going to be so far above everybody now. It's not going to make any difference. I don't know that there's going to be that big of a difference, except in the fact that like where you finish up as far as like what chests you get or what prizes you get, you're going to have to pick up shots in order to make it into the top 50 in the weekend round. I mean, on pretty much any course that's out there, you're going to have to pick up shots in order to get into the top 50. You're not going to be able to shoot the minimum score anymore and end up in 20th. You may end up with minimum score in some tournaments on some courses in 40th, but in most of these tournaments, you're going to be sub 50 with minimum score. You're going to have to pick up shots. You have to. In my Ricky 3 brackets. However, I don't think. Let's read this whole one. In my Ricky Tier 3 brackets, there was not a single player who didn't have at least one gold banner. I think I read that. In my opinion, it should be tough, right? However, I don't think that Ricky's success should automatically put someone in Pro Tier 3 and Expert Tier 2. And I'm assuming that's how it works, right? So if I took my 77 account and started playing Pro, I would automatically be in a Tier 3 bracket. And I can see, I mean, if somebody's moving up the scale and they're hitting Pro for the very first time and they're playing Pro for the very first time, they're going to get a Pro ranking. And they're going to take into consideration your rookie success, but your rookie success shouldn't count really heavily because now you're playing from Pro. I totally get that, like if they wanted to be fair about that. If a rookie gold banner player doesn't want to face the best of the best on a rookie, he should be able to move up to Pro Tier 1 and work his way through the Pro tiers. The way it is now, that player can play the best of the best in rookie, but moving up to Pro, he'll also face the best of the best and the same thing in Expert. So there's no incentive to move up. And in fact, people are moving down instead. Yeah. I mean, if you're moving up the scale, and you're in the Tier 1, then you may have that success where, like when you were in Tier 1, hey, I picked up a tournament, or I picked up a banner, and I got to Tier 2 and I maybe picked up a banner, and then like, hey, I've shown that I'm a good player and I picked up some stuff and now I'm ranked higher. So I think you're right. I mean, they should be able to work their way up there, because if they get there and they're not successful, then they'll just stay there. But if they get there and they get some success and they go, hey, I moved up and I got into a lower tier and I had some success. Well, guess what? You got some success. Pat on the back. That's what we wanted you to get. We got you motivated, and then now you're going to go to Tier 2, and the competition is going to be a little bit tighter. I totally get that. That totally makes sense. See where I was reading here. I play Ricky not because I can't play Pro. I have a Pro gold banner, but because I don't want to use any special balls and I don't mind facing the best of the best. Ricky Tier 3 is the best of the best, so no one is beating up on true Rickies anymore, as all the gold banner winners are fighting it out on a somewhat level playing field, though the Masters gold banner players with Apox 8 have an advantage. But if they want to play down, we can't stop them, and I don't know that I'd want to stop them. Why would I want to stop them? I think that you have to make, at whatever level your clubs are, you have to make the most of your clubs. And obviously, and I've stated this many times on video, obviously there isn't a single player in Golf Clash who's actually playing who doesn't want to make their clubs better. Unless you have completely maxed out clubs, and then you're just trying to get better balls. And being able to get the ball inventory every day of adding 3 balls to your inventory is huge. Huge. So getting your clubs maxed out is big time. But everybody wants better clubs. So if, I don't see it a lot, because literally I think a lot of people that were playing in rookie and rookie pro that had a lot of success, but they were keeping their account to the point where they were able to stay in that bracketing as far as in the tournaments past. They never played above pro. They had that account that had 10,000 games and it had never played above Tour 6. They never took it up high enough where it would get into an expert, where they get into an expert divisional bracket. That those people are pissed because now but the whole deal is that if you step back, they were still shooting those scores. There's just a lot more people in the bracket that can shoot right off that score. So if you're one down, instead of there being 129, because you'll get into a lot of brackets where it was a minus 32 at the top, and then there was a minus 30, and then there was a minus 29, and then there was 3 minus 20 or 2 minus 28s, and then a minus 27. In the top 10, by the time you got to the end of the top 10, you were like at 27th, 26th. So by the time you got to minimum score, you were 20th, 25th. You could actually come into the bracket being like one down from the minimum score. Those days are over. Those days are over. But the deal is if you were winning in those brackets and shooting the minus 32 in those brackets, you can still win in these brackets. There's nothing different. There's only a handful of people that are up there at the top that are shooting those scores. We see a lot of these scores online, and everybody has this expectation that the only way I can win is to shoot a minus 32. There are some tournaments that may be the case. But in most of these tournaments, it's about picking up, like in the last tournament, if we pick up all the par fours, which was definitely doable, that's minus 30, and that's a winning score. And that's all we have to do. We don't have to get any par threes. We don't have to get any albies. We don't have to get nothing. I think that I actually am not really seeing, from where I've been playing up to this point, I'm not really seeing any difference. I am seeing some people come out with, before I was seeing most of my opponents had exactly the same kind of clubs as me. And now I am seeing some opponents that have bigger clubs. And you can beat them just as easy as you can somebody with lower level clubs. Screw those people. I'm fine with the rookie tier 3 situation, but I think things need to be cleaned up in pro and expert to entice people to play up rather than playing down. I'm first to comment. What's up, Flappy Dunk? Not liking it. My lower level account was minus 23 and I got 16th place in rookie, and my main account was minus 29 and got 66th place. Other clan members got minus 21. What was that in? Was that Ricky? Minus 21 and got 8th place, and this guy has been getting gold banner since he started playing Golf Clash 3 years ago. Also, I concur with everyone that said about players having better and more advanced clubs. Other than that, I want to thank you for your videos and guidelines. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Efren. This is all going to be, every bracket's going to be a little bit different. And I'm curious because I've kind of not, haven't been playing my normal tournament, how just like being prepared for the tournaments and playing tournaments, but like my MO in the past for getting in a bracket, because we all know, especially in the weekend round, like what bracket you get in. So it seems to me that the people that are in the tier 3, that the tier 3 tier is super diluted. Like there's a lot of people in there that have won a tournament or have won. And for anybody out there that's won a tournament or consistently won banners, I'm not one of those players that wins banners like every freaking tournament. Like I'll have spurts. I'm that guy that usually in the winter and in the spring I have a lot of success, and I have kind of mixed success in the summer, but in the fall is usually not my season. And some players can win every week. So you'll see those players that are on there that have won a banner or got a gold, and so they're in tier 3. The last tournament, when I looked through the people that were in there, almost everybody had some kind of banner. And there was a lot of people that were in Odd Odds account that were ex-masters that had masters banners. I think the combination of how it was before, if they want to do kind of a combo like that would really do it. I'm trying to think out loud on the deal. So before we had the Ricky Pro, Ricky Expert, Ricky Masters, and now we've got 1, 2, and 3, and I'm not sure what the all of the criteria is, but I still think that even within these, or going up to them, that this right here was still applicable. Because I did like the fact that both with my odd account and my 77 account, when I play with my 77 account, I'm always playing against experts. So if you ran your ass up to expert as fast as you could, because at expert, I can get better prizes in my stuff. I get more gems and more coins and more stuff. I get better divisional prizes because I'm an expert. And you ran your stuff up there. That's not my problem. But most of the people that were at expert had pretty good stuff. And half of them were in the same range. My odd account here, being in Masters, everybody I play is an ex-Masters or current Masters. I think the combination of the tier system and what they were doing before as far as the divisional stuff, it seems like with the tier that they could have made it so that they continued to incorporate some of this, because the problem that most people were having was with the people that were in Ricky playing every other week, or Ricky Pro. And if you've had success here and you've won, if you were in Ricky and you won, guess what? You're going to get moved up the scale. You're going to get moved up to Ricky Pro instead of Ricky. And the deal there is that it's going to promote you to then want to go play at a higher tour to get better club cards, because you're going to have to be playing against people that are pros that have a little bit better clubs. And if you come here and you've been playing the every other week thing here, and you come up to here and you win, then you're going to get pushed up regardless of where you're at in your divisional stuff. That way they can work these people out of this area down here, which is where I think most people were bitching. I think the mass majority of the people that were in Ricky Masters understood what the deal was. Ricky Expert was probably a level of contention because it's so easy to get your account to Expert. And once you got into this area right here, it's almost like playing Expert, unless you know how to work the wind. One of my teammates, Kyle, has gone up to Expert, and he's had a bunch of success up there. And me personally, like looking at the situation, the deal is that Kyle knows how to do wind adjustments. He knows how to make adjustments for the wind. So he knows how to play one-on-one. He knows how to work in those varying winds. So it's helped him tremendously having success at rookie, going up the scale. I'm not sure that I like or dislike it. That's the whole deal. I'm not sure yet. Very unhappy. I am a very mediocre player and tier 3 rookie. I can't make the weekend anymore. Pretty much done with this game. And I'll tell you that the whole thing about, and I talked about this earlier, is making the weekend round is super tough. And so we're going to have to treat every round, which is kind of good that we have practice, because we can go out there on Monday and we can try and qualify. Now there's no more. This is what I learned on the last tournament. And I learned this the hard way. I 77 myself. What I learned is that on Monday, you need to make serious runs. Okay, you've practiced over here. You need to go in on Monday and you need to make a serious run with your account to try and qualify, to try and get in, and the cool news is that it's so hard. The qualification stuff is minus 12. I mean, you're not getting in with less than the minimum score. So you can get deep into your round and see where you're at. And if you've picked one up and you're 2 or 3 holes shy, then you could make a run for it and go in for that minus 13. If you've made a mistake here in the first 4 or 5, you can bag Monday's round and you can play the rest of the round and get a little bit of practice. And you can go to Tuesday and you can do it. And so every round now for qualification is a serious round for qualification. Because if you can come in with a minus 15, even if in the or in the opening round you shoot a minus 25 and you're just 1 over, this minus 15 tiebreaker in the qualifier is going to put you as one of the highest minus 25s. This minus 15 is going to put you at one of the highest in every bracket. So when you get into the weekend round, you're going to be competing against a bunch of other 25s for, if you shot just a 25. Getting into the weekend round is going to be tougher, but we can ramp up for the weekend round. That qualifying score is super important. Super important. And we have 3 days now that we can ramp up to it. And what I also found out was, and it's always been true, is that you never want to qualify on Wednesday. So normally my MO used to be Monday I would practice, Tuesday I would qualify my 77 account, and then Wednesday I would practice odd, and then I would qualify on Wednesday on odd. I'm not going to do that anymore. Wednesdays are rough. Last tournament on a Monday, I was screwing around in odd trying not to qualify, practicing it, and actually dropped a bunch of shots. I was like 2 up and ended up dropping a bunch of shots and got down to -10 and ended up qualifying on a -10 on Monday. And on Tuesday, if you didn't shoot, it was the minimum score of -12 was the cutoff. Anybody that didn't shoot the minimum didn't make it. And on Wednesday, the cutoff was -13. Okay, if you weren't picking up a shot, you weren't making it. And I qualified odd with a -10 and didn't qualify 77 with a -12 on a Wednesday. So making big runs at it, you may have a better shot of getting in on a Monday with a lower level score, but the bottom line is that you can't afford to get a lower level score unless you're absolutely sure that you can pick up 1 or 2 in the opening round. And if you can't shoot it in the qualifier, you may have problems in the opening round. So I'm just going to play for about an hour today, but I wanted to kind of go through, just trying to get back in. Looking at those. Sorry about that. What the heck was I doing? Where was I at? I got all these spammers. I'm sure they do it to everybody's channel. First time didn't make the cut. I'm first to comment. I did that one. I think that was all of them. I think that was all of the stuff that was on there. All right, just wanted to talk about the tier stuff. I'm really not too sure about the tiers. I think the tier stuff is, I'm not, in my stuff, I'm not seeing a big difference, but I will tell you that the scores that it takes to win have not changed. So we can look around us and say, hey, where we're at is I only shot a 27 this week and I came in, 45th, and before that would have been a top 20. That stuff's going to happen. But if you can pick up the same amount of shots that it took to win before, or it looks to me are the same amount of shots that it takes now. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, hit subscribe down there at the bottom. I hardly ever ask that kind of stuff. I usually just shoot the videos, and I really want to thank all my fans, because you guys and gals do support the channel quite a bit, and I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.